أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ومن الليل فاسجد له وسبحه ليلا طويلا صدق الله العلي العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين. I bear witness that without Allah there is no God. I bear witness that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, is the final messenger of Allah, after whom no prophet old or new will come. And I begin in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Lailatul Qadr is often described as a night of majesty. Unfortunately, most people interpret that to mean it's a night of mystery, or perhaps even a night of magic, because there are many expectations about this night. One of the translations of Lailatul Qadr is, of course, the night of power. What does that mean? And then there are many stories and incidents and issues that have arisen with regards to Lailatul Qadr. Some people say that the Quran was revealed in its entirety from the seventh heaven to the first heaven, and then the first revelation came down on Lailatul Qadr or things like that. Now, someone sent me information just recently where it is said that the Prophet Muhammad came out and he saw two Muslims fighting. And then he stopped them and then he told them, look, I was going to tell you when Lailatul Qadr really is, but because they were fighting, he forgot. These are the kinds of stories that we are told. First of all, well, the moral of the story that person indicated was that Muslims are not supposed to fight among themselves because it will make the Prophet forget, or it will affect Islam in some way or the other. These things are pure stories that have been invented, because a lot of Muslims have been brainwashed by what is called hadith, records and reports that have come from various sources, some of them collated, some of them not, some of them checked, some of them not, and a mass of information has arisen that has virtually stifled the true concept of Islam, which is in fact based upon the teachings of the Quran. Now, the Quran says about the Prophet Muhammad that we cause you to recite so that you would not forget. The Quran says that we will cause you to recite so that you would not forget. The Prophet was given a special gift of memory, and he memorized the Quran immediately as it was revealed. And when the Quran says it is revealed in the night of Qadr, how could we say that he has forgotten? And even if at that time he had forgotten, what happened when he said that, look, well, all the years of his life, he never found Lailatul Qadr again? Because he said, search for it during the last 10 nights of Ramadan. And when fasting started, and Ramadan was there, of course, before, but fasting was not in Ramadan at that time. Fasting was introduced only when the Prophet Muhammad had gone to Medina, but Ramadan was there even while he was in Makkah. And at the time that the first revelation came, there was no fasting. Ramadan was there, but it was not a month of fasting as yet. So the night could easily have been, well, in that sense, not remembered. Many a times we can't remember what happened last weekend or weekend before. Not that we forget, but our minds are absorbed with so many other things that those things just don't come to the forefront. And so we find that all of these years, the Prophet Muhammad never found Lailatul Qadr again, to know which night it was, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, or whatever night it was, 27th. Or, as he told the Muslims, that you should seek for it. So from that time to now, nobody has been able to find when is the real night of Lailatul Qadr. Perhaps the reason is because, as I said, they look at this as a night of mystery. It is surprising how so many Muslims, especially some of the more prominent Muslims, could invent stories and indicate to us certain things which have no bearing in fact, but merely in their imagination. A couple of nights ago, I was doing some research and I came across a video by a person that is known as Mufti Menk. And he was saying, you know, the Prophet Muhammad was born, when he was born, he was already circumcised. And when he was born, his umbilical cord was already cut. Nobody had to do it for him. It was he was born. I think perhaps if he had gone further, he might have said he was even born without a father, or miraculous as Jesus Christ, as the case may be. That's why I don't follow Mufti Menk and some of these people, because they make some wild statements that are unsubstantiated. I don't know if he was there, that he could say these things, or where he got this information from. But they quote scholars, they quote books, they quote, and these things are really irrelevant so far as Islam is concerned, but they look at it as miracles and magic and something unique to the Prophet Muhammad. His physical appearance in this work is of little importance, more so his spiritual advent to the world, his personality, his character, and of course the gift of the Quran is what is important for the world. And so if we want to really look at Lailatul Qadr, we have to look in the Quran, not in the Hadith. And the Quran tells us in the verse that I've recited to you, which says, وَمِنَ اللَّيْلِ, at night. Now remember, there are two words in the Quran for Layl. One is Layl and one is Layla. Now they are the same formation, but they are used differently in the Quran. Where the word Layla means a long period of darkness, and the word Layl means the night after sunset. And so we are asked to break your fast at nightfall, which means after the sunset. So the word used here in this verse is Layl, which means the night, day and night, the night time. The Quran says, and in this section, it speaks about we have revealed the Quran in portions, so it is talking about the Quran here, but it says, وَمِنَ اللَّيْلِ, at night, or of the night, فَاسْجُدْ لَهُ, make sajda to him, that is to Allah. Make sajda, go into prayer, do sajda for Allah. Laylan tawila, for a long night. So the Quran does tell us about a long night. Other nights you can, pray much as you want, little as you want. The Quran itself says that. Pray half the night, 2/3 of the night, 1/3, lessen it, increase it. But there is a night that is called a long night in the Quran. You'll notice here in my talk here, I have not referred to the chapter of Lailatul Qadr or others which you already know and have heard so many times. But this is a verse of the Quran that speaks of the long night. And the message here is that, Lailatul Qadr is really a period of darkness. It's not only just one night, it's a period. Because it is a period in which is said, the Quran itself says it's better than 1,000 nights, which was explained recently as 83 years and a little bit, which means that Lailatul Qadr, if you take a century, about 17 years of that century is a period of darkness, and it is better in those dark times than even 83 years of the century. Now, as I said, that's why I don't follow Mufti Menk and Zakir Naik and some of these people. I follow instead a man who was sent by God, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. None of these people can claim their interpretations have come from God. He said that God has revealed to me, and he has written so many books explaining these things, and it is you to judge whether my interpretation based upon his teachings makes sense or doesn't make sense, and does it help us to improve ourselves morally and spiritually. So we look at it and said that Mirza Ghulam Ahmad has pointed out to us that Layl really means a period, not just a night. But the Quran speaks of Lailatul Qadr. It speaks especially in another place of the long night. So this long night is the night that we are using, but Lailatul Qadr is not just this night, it is a period. That's why the Prophet said you can have it for 10 nights, or even for longer than that. It's really symbolic of a period of darkness. Now, when the place is dark, you find difficulty in finding things. That is well known. The only thing to drive away darkness is light. The Prophet Muhammad was in the cave of Hira for 15 years. It was not only physically dark at night, but it was dark so far as the morals of the people were concerned. The morality and the spirituality was so bad all over the world, the Quran says. So there was darkness. So darkness is not merely only the physical darkness, but more important, the moral and spiritual darkness. And one of the things we have to learn about darkness is when it is dark, don't just bring a light, use it. Now I often give this story, of a man who was walking one night and he lost a very valuable, was a coin or something, piece of jewelry. And he was looking for it. Someone came up to him and said, "What's happened?" He said, "I lost this." He said, "Where did you lose it?" He said, "Over there." And he said, "Well, why are you looking here? You lost over there, but you're looking here." He said, "Yes, but here has the street light." So he's looking in the street light, but where he is the darkness. It fell in the darkness. The thing is, we don't just go where there is light. We have to take the light to find what we want. And so the Quran speaks of Allah as the light of the heavens and the earth. And we have to get Allah in our lives so that we can use that light to remove the darkness. And that is what Lailatul Qadr is all about. The Prophet Muhammad was told, "Iqra bismi rabbika allazi khalaq." The attributes of Allah was revealed to him, and he took that light of the knowledge of God to remove the darkness of Arabia. So it is not yes, it is symbolic of one night, just as the Kaaba is a building, symbolic of all masjids all over, as I have explained in one of my answers recently. But the important thing here is that we have to use the light when it is dark. Now, in the time of the Prophet Muhammad, people were searching for that light. There were people who recognized that there was darkness, and they were searching for light. Abraha thought he had the light. There were 360 idols, 360 lights if you call it, religions, but they were wrongly placed. So people sometimes what they look for in Lailatul Qadr is probably not the right thing they're looking for. A lot of people look for their successes and they achieve it. Nothing is wrong in looking that way if you do it in the proper way. They want success in the exam, they want success in their family life, they want in whatever way, material things they want, it's not a problem. But at the same time, we have to realize and understand that we have to, just as in the Prophet's time, the search for the light to remove the darkness of the age and time, but those lights were wrongly placed because they were idols in the Kaaba, and that was not given any light. The Quran tells us this. Today we live in a godless world, a world in which people are gradually forsaking God, a God-forsaken world, and everyone is offering a light. Everyone is offering a light. You'll find a person say, Islam is the best religion, Judaism is the best religion, Buddhism also. And recently I mentioned in one of my khutbahs, there was an organization called Shincheonji, which is a new religion of Christianity based in Korea. And they feel they have the answer to all the problems of the end times, and the Seventh-day Adventists say the same. The Jehovah's Witness, they all feel the same. Everybody has an idea that they are able to give the light. Nobody says, what we have, it has come from God, except one person, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. He said, God has sent me. I didn't appoint myself. God told me, and this is what I'm teaching you, how to interpret the Quran and apply it in your life. So Allah has not forsaken the world. He gave us this religion. And if the religion has gone bad, not that the religion itself, but the people have made the religion bad by giving us so many things that came after the revelation of the Quran, and setting up so many systems in place which sometimes may be valid and some may not be valid. So what the Quran is indicating to us is that you have to find what you seek in the darkness. When there's light, you don't need, you can move around in the night. But when you are in darkness, in order to find what you want, you have to have something opposite. And so the Quran says, Inna anzalna fi Lailatul Qadr. It's like, you have a whiteboard. If you want to see something on the whiteboard, you have to use a black marker. If you use a white marker, you won't see. Similarly, a blackboard, a black chalk wouldn't show. You have to have something which is contrasting. And so that contrast is necessary. And this is why Allah points out to us that it is in hard times and difficult times and times of depression in your life, when things are, you just seem you can't function properly and so on, you experience the hand and the help of Allah. When things are hard, that's the time you experience the hand of Allah. Because if I am successful because I have money, because I have friends, because I have knowledge, because I have support, because I have an army, and how do I know that God is helping me? How do I know God is helping me? These are the things that is giving me progress and success in life. But if I have nothing, if I'm suffering, if I'm sick, and I still have the energy to move about and I can go about, what is carrying me? What is moving me? My money is not carrying me. My medication is not causing me to function. It is my willpower, my faith in Allah that is driving me forward to pursue knowledge, to pursue success in examinations, to pursue success in life, in my profession, whatever it is. So it is in hard times that you really experience the help of Allah. And that is why Lailatul Qadr is an ongoing period. We don't confine it to one night. It represents a hardship of our lives. And if it doesn't come in our lives, how else we will know what it is that has helped us? So the question we have to ask ourselves now, so how do we recognize Lailatul Qadr? What is it we are looking for? The first thing we have to look at is, where do our ideas come from? I want to achieve something. Where does my idea come from? What causes ideas in my mind to occur? And this is something special for human beings. Suddenly, sometimes you may get a new and exciting idea. You want to do this, you want to open a business, you want to take this particular course, you want to go here, you want to travel, whatever it is you have. I want to do this, I want to give charity, I want to organize an iftari, I want to, have a praise, I want to, visit somebody. Some idea come to your mind. That in the Quran is called ilham. It's a bright idea. It's a bright idea, a little spark that comes out of nowhere. Something flashes in your mind. Now this is the lowest form of what we call wahi. Wahi, as you know, is the revelation of the Quran. The Quran says we have revealed it. We have yuha ilayya. We have revealed it to you, and it gives us the explanation of what is wahi and the different forms of wahi. Now the lowest form of wahi is a result of our subconscious mind or soul working to make our thoughts a reality. So a bright idea comes, and it's important to understand how wahi really means to make an idea work. And ilham means to make the idea work by making choices. Because if I have an idea, I have a choice. Should I follow this particular place? Should I follow that particular place? We always have choices in life. And that is why we need the guidance of Allah at all times. And so the Quran points out to us, it indicates to us, فَأَلْهَمَهَا فَجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. Ilham comes to your soul, to yourself, to your mind, telling you about the fajur. Fajur means to stay far from that. A white bird, give it a white bird. And taqwa means to manage the risk. You're going in this direction, there are going to be challenges. Taqwa means management, risk management, the management of the risk. Risk means things that are obstacles to your success. And some things you can't help. We have risk management here in our project in doing the washrooms. We started off with the intention of finishing as quickly as possible. During the period of time, we had certain setbacks. In many ways, one of the major setbacks we had, of course, was our tileman who was doing work. Many of you may not know this, but he went home from here one night, and then when he got up in the morning, his vehicles with all his tools were missing. He had to go to the police station, and that took some days for him to run about his insurance. He had no transport, and he's coming from Barrackport. But he overcame those challenges. And we helped him in whatever way, and he's able to trying to get this done with that zeal to know that we need our mosque for Eid, and he'll try his best to do it. But there are circumstances that come. We manage those risks as they come. So the Quran points out to us that we have to influence and encourage ourselves by seeking out Allah's help. If you look at it, you will realize when I speak about ilham and wahi as a spark, when the Prophet Muhammad was in the cave of Hira, the first night, after 15 years, he went there again and again. It was just a spark that came to his mind. Iqra bismi rabbikal ladzi khalaq. And that spark ignited a fervor, a determination, a solution to solve the problem that he was thinking. Here are my people, here's the world in so much of corruption. I have no resources whatsoever. I am at the top of a mountain, bare mountain, just praying in dust. And I have nothing. I have no army, I have no money, I have no friends, my wife and family are there at home, I am alone. But a little spark comes and it energizes him, it gives him power. That's why it's called the night of power. It gives him the power to bring this religion forward. If you look at, for example, how we get power, take a vehicle. Any vehicle or motor car or any other vehicle, and you know it has a engine block with a piston in it, and that piston is moving. It's dark in there. It's all dark, and the piston is moving up and down. Or a little spark, a little electronic spark will ignite the fuel that is there, and it makes an explosion. A little electric spark makes an explosion that sends that piston. It could be the piston of a huge aircraft or a ship or crane or whatever it is, or as small as a car or whatever, but it sends that, it gives that energy, sends that explosion that makes the piston work, and you get so much of power from a little spark. So Lailatul Qadr is a night of empowerment, and it is that, just as in a piston, in the engine, it is energized by a brief spark causing that explosion, and then of course when it's a spark and cause the explosion, you have to clean out the exhaust. And this is what Lailatul Qadr is all about, that if you don't clean the engine, you lose power. Our lives are such that we are searching in Lailatul Qadr for a spark, the light of God, to energize us, to give us the energy to face the challenges that we have, to face our sickness, to face our poverty, to face our ignorance, to face our family problems, whatever it is. We need that little light from God, and it's possible. I have known people who have experienced Lailatul Qadr, not in the miraculous way that people said trees bow down and this, all kinds of fanciful stories, but they get the energy to move forward in spite of the fact they are in hardship and difficulties and challenges in life. There are dark periods in their life. There's depression. Other people will resort to suicide or so. They find that when we turn to God and turn to prayer, turn to mosque, turn to doing good to people, that we get that energy. And we're able to cleanse ourselves and purify ourselves to God for the sake of Allah. Just as we see in our case of our physical mosque, it has dust, yes, but we'll clean it and begin to use it once again. Similarly, our lives, morally and spiritually, we need to clean ourselves in order to, the cleaner the engine, the more effective will be the spark. The fuel is there of the knowledge of God given to us by the Holy Quran. And so the Quran tells us, تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةِ وَالْرُوحُ فِيهَا بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِمْ مِنْ كُلِّ أَمْرٍ سَلَامٌ هِيَ حَتَّى مَطْلَعِ الْفَجْرِ. What the Quran tells us, angels are ready to see you through the darkness until it breaks into daylight, when you can continue on your own. The Quran says angels, the forces of nature, Allah has so many forces available to you. When the light of Allah comes, it energizes you, it gives you a verve, a spirit, energy in order to move forward, to continue, to go forward with determination. Nothing stops you. Nobody can really bring you down. People can say all things about you. You still will continue. You are blessed by God because you have that full faith in Him that things will be okay. وَالْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى, says the Quran. What will come afterwards is better than what you have now. So the Quran is indicating to us the forces of nature that will come Why he says, peace it is until you have the coming of the morn. When there is darkness, you need that light. When there is morning, Fajr, you can walk about. You can do things on your own. When you are in bright times, you are able to function on your own. When it is dark times, hard times in your life, that's the time you need the help of Allah more than anything else. So there's a portion of darkness, and that is better than the whole day you'll be able to doing things yourself. But for the night, when things are hard, when things are difficult in life, that power that comes from God is just a little spark. But it gives you the energy, it gives you the verb, it gives you the empowerment in order to face the challenges that you are facing at the time, so that when the Fajr comes, when the daybreak comes, when all the darkness is over, and you are now bathed by the light of the sun and the good things of this world, you are praying for wealth, for example, and it comes, you are able to know how to use it. And so the Quran, Prophet Muhammad prayed that this religion will one day encompass the whole of Arabia and the world. And the Quran says, إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحُ. One day you will see that happening. He realized the truthfulness and the prophecies that were made. So during those hard times, what made the Prophet and his companions go through to keep this religion alive were a lot of sacrifices. Today we are living in the Fajr of Islam, and you see what is happening to the Muslim community. They are not prepared for sacrifices. They are fighting and killing and condemning and kafir making all over the world. So Lailatul Qadr is perhaps just a mystery for many. I wonder whether they will ever see Lailatul Qadr if they are looking at it from this perspective as a night of miracles, of strange things happening, without realizing that Lailatul Qadr is significant to us. It means seeking for the light of Allah in our lives to give us that spark, just a little bit of Him, to be able to give us the energy and the power to face whatever challenges we have in life. بارك الله لنا ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعنا وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم إنه تعالى جواد كريم ملك رؤوف رحيم. Thank you very much, and may Allah bless you, and I hope all of you would keep up the worship of Allah. I have always in my prayers prayed for this Jamaat, that Allah will raise from among us men and women who will serve Him. It's not my name or my Ahmadiyya Anjuman name is important. What is important is the name of Allah, that you keep up worshiping God, trusting Him and depending upon Him. It works, it succeeds. I have seen it in my life, I've seen it in the lives of other people, and I know you will see it in your lives too. But you cannot just do it on one or two, one night or so. You have to really keep at it and stick to it, to worship this one God. There's a lot of good in store for you. May Allah bless you and grant you success in every way.